Nothing can keep me down, nigga. I'm unstoppable. What's wavy, baby? Welcome to the Wavy Cave. And on this week's installment of Wavy Wednesdays, there are a couple of things that I would like to say, a couple ideas I would like to share, if I may. What's more important, the ends or the means? What do I mean? Is the feeling more important than the appearance of the feeling, right? Is it more important to appear healthy or to actually be healthy, even though you may not appear healthy in like the contemporary configuration of what health looks like, right? Because like you could go to the gym every day, you could eat healthily, and you might still naturally be a heavy-set person, or you could take Ozempic and look like a twig, you know, even though that's what like healthy looks like. You feel me? Because there's a lot of ways to look like you're doing some shit, right? I've fallen victim to it myself, right? It's not hard to look like you're the guy. It's not hard to go work a regular 9-to-5 job, go and buy some designer clothes and like go outside and pump on your chest and be like, yeah, nigga, I'm him. When you're really just another guy, you know, you're just some dude. And the thing about that is, I feel like that's where imposter syndrome comes from, right? When you're really not doing the actual underlying foundational work that you need to do to be the thing you want to be or to feel like the thing you want to feel like, but you're doing very like surface level, shallow work. So it appears as if you are the thing that you say you are or that you would like to be, but in your heart of hearts, you know that you're not really doing it. You're not really that guy. You feel me? And feel free to disagree. Let me know down below in the comments if you think imposter syndrome is a real thing. But in my opinion, you either got it or you don't. And if you got it, you feel like you got it. And you know you got it. And you don't have to convince anybody else that you got it because you got it. Get it? Got it. Good. So, how then do we go about doing the things we want to do? And I think my mother always tells me, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper, you know? And you got to start from the base, from the sacral chakra. Fun fact, did you know that the human body actually has 4 brains? You got 2 brains in the head. People address it like it's one brain. But there was this really cool TED Talk that I saw. This lady who was like a neurosurgeon or something who had a stroke. And so like the communication between each hemisphere of the brain was interrupted. And one hemisphere was only dealing with the here and now, and was just like amazed at the present moment and all the information that was coming in. And the other hemisphere of the brain, or the other brain, as I would say, is dealing with sorting all of that information into past and present, and then digesting that information, and then making plans based on that information, right? And so there's another brain in the heart, right? And there's another brain in the stomach, right? And all of these brains, chakras, neural bundles, or energy centers, whatever you want to call them, right? They want and do different things. Personally, if you just look at the way evolution works, I think that the first brain was the stomach brain, right? Most people, most organisms, most things are motivated by food. You know, you give a bad bitch a nice dinner, she will love you for the rest of your life. Guaranteed, my nigga. You take her out to Nobu or some shit, you're good, you know? And that gut feeling, as we've all felt and heard about before, is really, I think, the compass that dictates how you are to live your life, right? And once that feeling is aligned with your purpose, you can bring the heart in line with that, so you feel good about what you're doing. You're not fucking people over for profit. You're not taking advantage of the housing bubble to make billions of dollars and leaving millions of Americans without homes or security. And then you rationalize what you're doing with the head brain, you know? But a lot of people think top down as opposed to bottom up, right? So you're like, okay, I want to look like a supermodel, so I'm not going to eat food and I'm going to take drugs that suppress my appetite so that I can look the way I want to look. Your heart is like, what are you doing? This doesn't feel right. And then your gut is like, oh, stop it, please. Oh my God, you know? And that is what leads to psychotic breaks and depression, is when all the four brains, or I guess three central brains, are not on the same wavelength. You feel me? Mind, body, and spirit type shit. So to answer my own question, I guess, I think the feeling is more important, right? Because once you feel like the man, initially, you may not look like it, but inevitably, brother, you're going to end up looking like it. Because I know that you've met people who don't appear to be confident, or they're dressed bummy or whatever like that, but as soon as they open their mouth, as soon as you lock eyes with them, you can see that fire, that desire, that drive in their eyes. And you're like, damn, this guy looks like he knows what he's talking about. You feel me? I've had endless conversations with homeless people, CEOs, whatever like that. And that is the common factor, right? Is them being like, yeah, I am seated in a confident knowledge of who I am, what I can do, and what I want. And that deep-seated knowledge then manifests itself externally in achievements, in looking like whatever you want to look like, right? But it doesn't start from the achievements to the feeling. The feeling comes first. You look at Kanye, he's a perfect example. That nigga will not stop talking about how great he is and all the achievements that he wanted, even before all of the accolades, bro. Like, he was nobody in terms of like the rapping scene, but he's like, no, I know who I am and I'm going to prove it to y'all. And that is the important thing that you have to do. You got to prove it. It's not enough to just feel it. You got to externalize those feelings, externalize those ideas into the outside world, you know? And through that, you become actualized. So don't look like you know what you're doing. Know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, don't worry about looking like you know what you're doing, because you know you don't know what you're doing. And in that very contradictorily or ironically, you're going to end up knowing what you're doing. Because once you accept you don't know what you're doing, something will come to you and you're going to be like, wait, now I know what I'm doing. And you'll be great. So if I can leave it nothing else for this video, follow your faith, man. No, don't believe. No. And you'll be great. All right. That's it from the Wavy Cave this week. Stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of amazing stuff on this installment of Wavy Wednesdays. I guarantee it. And stay wavy.